Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
It's going to be an ironic episode, to say the least. You just made it. Yeah, just made it. Buzzer beater here. Had to deal with a flat tire on the car, thanks to my wife. Shout out to her. This is probably why it's best women don't drive. So, here we are. Long day. But we're going to talk. We're going to go north of the border, north of the wall. And we're going to go back to Canada, somewhere we venture every once in a while. And... yeah, our friends up there, our good buddy, Justin Trudeau. So they had our other good friend that we talk about a lot on this show, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine. They hosted him in Parliament over the weekend. He kind of was over here, in North America. Yeah, doing his thing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's that's his job. His job is... Yeah, no. In all seriousness, his job is to kind of go and recruit and get the money for Ukraine to fight the war. That's his role. He's not there doing X's and O's on the battlefield. Yeah, a lot. So it's a lot. It takes a lot of money to keep an entire country afloat. But Volodymyr, he goes over there to Canada, and Canadians were not happy. I thought that was pretty interesting. There was a couple protests and things like that. But the most interesting part about it, and definitely the most ironic part about it, is who they brought with them. And I kind of think we'll let that speak for itself on our first clip. There's going to be a lot of clips in this episode, folks. This was a soap opera this past week. And it's not over yet. There's more happening as we're recording here. But that's going to be the main focus of our episode here, what's going on in Canada and the soap opera that has occurred because of this visit of Volodymyr Zelenskyy. So let's set the stage with the first thing that happened here, and we'll go from there. So this is in the Canadian Parliament. This is their Speaker of the House, and he is about to announce an esteemed guest of the Canadian government.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
Top right corner.
It's all smiles and oohs and ahs and screaming and running.
You're doing a Jurassic Park reference there, Jeff? I'm probably the only person who actually got that. So, yeah, it starts, it's all oohs and ahs. But I want to, let's back up here. You remember, and you ever watch Simpsons? You could pinpoint the moment where you could see his heart split in half.
Yes, yeah. He paused while he was reading.
Yeah, let's go back real quick.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians.
Right there. You see those eyes?
Right there.
You saw those eyebrows? You saw those eyebrows go up? Woo!
Yep.
So yeah, let's we talk about history in our last. Who fought against the Russians in World War II?
Would it be the Nazis?
Yeah.
Did the Nazis fight the Russians?
I think so. Right. That's what the history books tell us. At least what we think are the accurate history books.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you could literally, this is I forget this guy's name. He's the Speaker of the House there in Canada.
Yeah. He's Speaker of Parliament.
And you could literally again see where his his heart breaks there. But yeah, his name's Yaroslav. I'm gonna butcher his name. Haga or
don't matter. He's a fucking Nazi.
Yeah, he's 98 years old. Sorry, Yaroslav Hunka. He's a 98-year-old soldier who fought against the Russians. So, yes, he was a Nazi, a Ukrainian Nazi, you know, something that we've talked about in the past, going all the way back. All the way back
February
to when
2022.
Scott Horton came on our show and gave us the history behind the Nazis in Ukraine. My God, the irony.
Wasn't it a conspiracy theory that Nazis are in Ukraine? Isn't it a offense?
Yeah, well, you know, here comes the irony, right? Our Instagram page, we've mentioned this a couple of times. Our Instagram page our original one got shadow banned for posting photos of Ukrainian soldiers who had Nazi, you know, black Sonnenrad patches and things like that, and calling this out. But here we are now. Here we are, the Canadian Parliament. You know, I will be generous here, accidentally hosting a Nazi, a Waffen SS Nazi. So not only was Yaroslav here, right? Was he a Nazi? But yeah, the worst of the worst, the SS, like the elite, the Galatian SS, which Scott Horton mentioned and gave us the history lesson back in the day about. It's just so goddamn rich. It's so goddamn ironic. Look, I think there's a lot of things we could take from this, right? That, you know, anyone who was dismissed at the very beginning about their concerns that there were Nazis in Ukraine and the long legacy ties to, I mean, those people are obviously all vindicated now, right? I mean, you know, literally, I mean, the guy's 98. I don't know. What are your thoughts on himself? He's a 98-year-old man. That's a little bit extreme there, buddy. Taking the Polish stance. Yeah. Both parties there were basically liberal progressives, but his is the ultra one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Good. You're good. And again, not the fake Nazis that they were always crying about. Like, you know, some more irony here. I don't know if you remember back when we covered the trucker protests, they were calling people protesting the mandates Nazis. And why were they calling them Nazis? Because they agreed with, you know, my body, my choice and individual autonomy. I remember a couple of the protesters there in Ottawa, the trucker protesters, they brought like Nazi flags with them, but they brought them with them to put them on the Parliament Hall there to say that the government was a bunch of Nazis. So then they and the corporate press and the government said, look, they're Nazis because they have Nazi flags, omitting the videos of them literally trying to put the flag on the steps of the hall saying they were Nazis. I think you know, this is a soap opera, dude. I have a lot of videos here. We can't let these people get away with this. I'm going to go through all of them, and we'll keep giving comments here about them all. This was back when the protest was going on. One of their PMs there.
How much vitriol do we have to see of honk honk, which is an acronym for Hail Hitler?
Honk honk. They were saying honk. Remember all the honking going on in Ottawa? All the trucks honk honk, and the memes. People were doing the memes of the Gadsden flag with the fucking the Canadian goose, and they were doing honk honk. Yeah. They were saying that means Hail Hitler. That it was an acronym for Hail Hitler. There's like 2 seconds left.
Do we need to see by these protesters on social media?
Literally.
See, this is just if they are supporting. They're supporting the thing so blindly that, you know, back then they supported vaccines.
Yeah. Yeah. Or we want to try to have some context behind our thoughts. Yeah. Right. Like, there's a lot of ways to break this down, right? Like, it could just be an honest accident, but it could be an honest accident because they're so blindly adhering to supporting the current thing. Like you said, like, these aren't impressive people in the end of the day anyway. They're in government. So, yeah, like, what are they, you know, like, do you expect, I really don't, to be honest with you. Like, I don't expect, like, the speaker's intern staff to understand, like, the history of world politics and who fought on what side and what. I mean, you know, perhaps they should, right? They are in government and they are funding a fucking war right now. The Canadians are, just like the American government is. Good. I don't think it references that, dude. Yeah, but it doesn't. Oh yeah, or a Maxime Bernier supporter is up there. Yeah. No, they're not. Yeah, I think. Sure. Right. Right. Or how about we just referenced it in our last episode. You know, RFK, they said that his tweet was a dog whistle to Nazis because he was talking about how he can't get Secret Service and white supremacists secret, and they were saying how the numbers are a dog whistle. So that's a dog whistle, but the Canadian Parliament hosting a literal Waffen SS veteran of 98 years. Well, you know, that's not a, you know, if anything's a fucking dog whistle. Is that a dog whistle? Is the corporate press going to write 500 stories about how evil Justin Trudeau and the Speaker of the House is and all this shit? No, of course not. Of course they're not. Yeah. Oh, man. Rumble, TikTok, YouTube, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Um, yeah, these people all go way back, right? I think we could inject some. Like, let's go real quick to the historical angle of this, right? Because we just came off a historical episode with Vinny and the squad talking about history, and I mean, let's like go back to that time and put ourselves in Yaroslav's shoes. I don't think the only reason why he decided to fight for the Nazis is because he had some sort of racist belief behind him. Not only that, I mean, keep in mind, where was Ukraine? Ukraine was in the Soviet Union. So what, pray tell, when we think back to history, could have possibly motivated Ukrainians to join the side of the invader coming to them and join up and go to their side and fight against their own country, right? Because the Soviet Union at the time was their country. Well, I know exactly what that was. That was the Holodomor, right? They literally, the Soviet Union and the Russians starved the Ukrainians to death, millions of them, for like 20 years, and was brutal to them, right? Why? Because the Soviet Union and communism, the shit doesn't fucking work. And Stalin and all that, they were objectively evil. We just talked about this, dude, with Vinny. Even Vinny agreed. Stalin was worse than Hitler, right? And again, we're going to use nuance and context here. That doesn't mean that Hitler was good, but if you put it to the decision at the time of a random Ukrainian person like Yaroslav, and here come the Nazis invading Ukraine, which am I going to fight for the Red Army, or am I going to fight for the Waffen SS? A lot of Ukrainians decided to fucking sign up with the Waffen SS because that's how bad the Soviet Union was and treated them. Not only that, man, there was another, mobilization called the Russian Liberation Army at the time of like Russians who were like, okay, this is a good opportunity for us to have a rebellion against the Soviet Union. And they were like a sort of like free anti-Soviet Russians who tried putting together their own army, literally called the Russian Liberation Army. And they put out like overtures to the Germans to try and see if they could form any sort of alliance and fight against. So, it wasn't just the Ukrainians; it was even some Russians. So I think some context behind history here, and especially for some fucking revisionist history, people who say, well, real communism wasn't tried. Yeah, it was, and it was the worst thing ever. It made people literally want to side with the Nazis over the Soviets. That's how bad it was. And it doesn't mean that they were good. Just use that, think about that in historical front. So that's probably why Yaroslav here decided to throw in his lot with the SS. Context. Yeah, I like where you're going with this so far. I like what you're thinking about this. It's like, the dangers of supporting the current thing have infiltrated. We would think that the state and like these people at the power centers are beyond supporting the current thing. That they're setting the agenda of what the current thing is. That they're not falling victim to what the current thing is. But this actually contradicts that. This actually kind of proves that they do fall victim to like their own, like they're setting their agenda and then they accidentally fall lockstep with their own agenda as if they're their own NPCs. Maybe they thought they could get one over, right, and no one would notice. I don't know. Maybe that's how out of touch they are. Right? Who? Wait, yeah, yeah. Not many options for Ukrainians to be fighting the Russians at the time, or what side you were going to be on. Yeah, maybe they thought they were going to get one over, right? I don't know. So yeah, those are kind of the options here. I think someone who's go ahead. It's like in a shit situation. Yeah, it's not that they were the better option. It's like it's a shit sandwich and and a giant douche. What is it? Turd sandwich, giant douche. Yeah. It really is something, man. I got more videos. This was a soap opera. It's not over yet. I was gonna say that one person, they've acknowledged that this was a mistake, and we're gonna get more into the just insane drama around this. But somebody who's evaded scrutiny here and the drama is Volodymyr Zelenskyy himself. I haven't seen any criticism of him in this regard, right? I know. I'm just saying. I'm just making the point. The corporate press has written the articles. It has been discussed. Parliament has done their thing now in Canada. But Volodymyr Zelenskyy, I mean, they're saying that the Speaker of the House invited this guy, but dude, he came in on the posse with Volodymyr Zelenskyy, right? The Ukrainian Jew president brought a Nazi with him to Canada. It's pretty outrageous, dude. It really is. All right, so let's go over and let's see what our good friend Justin Trudeau had to say about this. Can you see this, Cap? Sorry, folks, if we got any technical difficulties here with the live stream. Still learning, still trying to make it better. So
I'm watching the live on the YouTube. So.
Okay, all right, it's a little delayed there, but here we go. So here's Justin Trudeau. Let's hear what he has to say.
Upsetting that this happened. The speaker has acknowledged his mistake and has apologized. But this is something that is deeply embarrassing to the Parliament of Canada and, by extension, to all Canadians. I think particularly of Jewish MPs and all members of the Jewish community across the country who are commemorating Yom Kippur today.
That's right. Hold on.
I think.
Hold on. That's right. This happened on Yom Kippur, I think, or the day before. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. On top of that, it's what I'm telling you. This is one of the most ironic, fantastic soap operas in politics I've ever seen.
In the Q community, they constantly talk about get your popcorn. We're watching a movie. Blah, 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 blah. We're watching a movie. This is all 100% planned and scripted. There's no way all this just falls into place like this.
Hold on. This gets even better. Let's let him finish what he has to say.
It's going to be really important that all of us push back against Russian propaganda, Russian disinformation, and continue our steadfast and unequivocal support for Ukraine.
Pause it.
We did last week.
So I might be getting this wrong. Is he blaming this old Nazi coming to Canada and being hailed a hero on Russian disinformation?
He's blaming it on Putin.
Because if so,
yeah.
I will jump out this window now.
This is Putin's fault somehow. This whole thing. This is Putin's fault. This is Russian disinformation. He literally just said that, folks. You heard that from his own words. Let's rewind. I think this is valuable. We have to sometimes rewind these things to make sure everybody hears.
What? No way. No.
An unequivocal support for Ukraine against Russian propaganda. I think it's going to be really important that all of us push back against Russian propaganda, Russian disinformation, and continue our steadfast and unequivocal support for Ukraine
Russian different. So Look, let me give you maybe the most. I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and then
I'm gonna have to turn my computer off for a minute because I got to break something.
Let me play devil's advocate here for you. Perhaps he's trying to say that, I know what the shitstorm that this is going to cause, and we have to push back against Russian disinformation around the Ukraine right now, all being Nazis, because that's what the Russians are going to say. Now, so perhaps that's the devil's advocate. That's what he's trying to say. I will also make a point against Vladimir Putin here. Vladimir Putin is not going to look at things with the context that we gave before about how bad the Soviets were. And Vladimir Putin does talk a lot about, like, he does admit some of the faults of the Soviet Union, but he does then not also really lay out how bad it was either. Obviously, he kind of like covers that part up. So of course, like Vladimir Putin's going to say the same thing that we're saying right now. Like, look, these guys are hosting fucking Nazis, right? Well, and they're evil, but he's not going to have the context of, the reason why this guy fought for the Nazis against the Soviets is because your government was the most evil fucking thing that ever existed at the time.
Well, that's what happens when you're unbiased. But hasn't Putin said that, like, they're trying to the denazification of Ukraine?
Yeah, like that's his angle at why this is justified, because they're trying to protect the, like the Russian-speaking people in the Donbass and Luhansk, and the denazification in Ukraine. Like those are, that's the, we're going to bring freedom.
Good marketing.
We're going to bring freedom to the Iraqis from Saddam Hussein angle of this. In reality, it's just he's trying to protect his border from NATO expansion. Right, and that's what it really boils down to, at least in my opinion. But I mean, wild, isn't it? And we're not done yet, folks. There's more videos to come. But any other thoughts on Trudeau here?
No, get this asshole off the screen.
He's coming back in a minute. So, all right. If you didn't think that this was, this again, soap opera, right? And if you don't think, folks, I just recently reread 1984. We're living in that sort of world. So, they've been going through this the past couple days. One of the MPs there, she's going to make a suggestion. I'll let the suggestion play out on camera and we comment on it.
I would like to ask for unanimous consent to adopt the following motion. That notwithstanding any standing order, special order, or usual practice of the House, the recognition made by the Speaker of the House of an individual present in the galleries during the joint address to Parliament by His Excellency Volodymyr Zelenskyy be struck from the appendix of the House of Commons debates of Thursday, September 21st, 2023, and from any House multimedia recording. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So this is Karina Gold. She is I think she's a Jewish member of Parliament there. She's on. Real quick. She's on Trudeau's party, on his side. She is, folks. I don't know if you heard that. She literally just said, "Let's strike what happened from the official record. Let's erase it from history, from the record of Canadian Parliament. Let's go back. Let's change the record books, and let's say that this guy was never here. Let's just completely strike it for a record." That's what you
rewrite history. You know what? To be honest, though, I'm in the mood of being shocked. So, I can't believe that it's even brought up for that. And I love His Excellence Zelenskyy. I'm not surprised, truthfully, because look at JPP. Anytime she talks, gives these briefings, she rewrites history every friggin' day.
True.
You know what I mean? Oh, well, Joe Biden said this. No, he didn't. I have it right here, him saying this. No, he didn't say that. So, I mean, these people, this is just something they would love to do. But here's a slippery slope. Anytime Parliament or Congress has a little trip or stumble in something they do, we could just strike it from the history books. And what was she talking about? Social media or the internet or whatever? Was Canada going to scrub this from the internet?
Yeah, different country, right? So different rules too.
Yeah.
But let's split this play.
Oh, yes, the Honourable. I guess we have to go to the, we'll ask about unanimous consent, then go to it. All those opposed to the Honourable Ministers moving the motion will please say nay. We don't have unanimous consent.
Look out, man!
We have another.
Someone's going to make a rebuttal.
It goes without saying that those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. What happened on Friday was shameful and brought embarrassment to this chamber. It was an ugly reminder of what survivors of the Holocaust know too well, that we must never forget. Deleting the text of the Speaker's words from Hansard would have...
I'm going to have to interrupt. I see this... I'm afraid it's getting into debate more than anything else.
I would like to ask.
Pathetic.
It's
what a pathetic country.
It's
Fucking
modeled after
pathetic.
the English system, where like they'll come to fisticuffs over
Oh
there.
yeah, another non-pathetic country.
But I think the Canadians are a little bit usually more, reserved. So we can't have this. It's coming into a debate here. But at least a conservative party who is pathetic over there, they're at least pretending to be like, well, we shouldn't strike this from the record because we're supposed to learn from history. So I mean, there's your George Orwell, 1984, folks. I know what you were saying before about Karine Jean-Pierre is like trying to rewrite history every day as the press secretary and whatnot. But I mean, there's a difference between lying as the official liar of the president and then like, well, let's actually go back and change like this.
Let's do work and erase
the
it.
stenography, like the stenographer. Like let's go back and rip out those pages the stenographer stenographed and change exactly what happened here. This way, 100 years from now, that will literally not be actual recorded history. That it's a little bit different. There's a distinction to be made there. I think. Fair
enough, but appalling nonetheless, pathetic nonetheless, just unbelievable.
So.
What else do we got?
We got two more. So yesterday, so let's get the time right.
So this is still going on.
This is still going on, man, till this afternoon.
Right, good.
So let's get the timeline right. It was Friday that this happened. This is now Wednesday. So it was Friday. Yom Kippur was Monday. We're now here on Wednesday. The soap opera's been continuing the past couple days. So this was yesterday. This was Tuesday, and the Speaker of the House. What does he have to say?
It's with a heavy heart that I rise to inform members of my resignation as Speaker of the House of Commons. It has been my greatest honor as a parliamentarian to have been elected by you, my peers, to serve as the Speaker of the House of Commons for the 43rd and 44th Parliament. I have acted as your humble servant of this House, carrying out the important responsibilities of this position to the very best of my abilities.
I wish Nancy Pelosi would have taken a fucking, like a lesson from
page out of this guy's book.
Anthony Rota, the Speaker of the House, is literally fucking resigning because of this, because of what happened. All right, so the next video we'll add some more context to this, but boy, when I say that the state is a criminal organization, I literally mean that. And when libertarians say that, like I mean that literally. Like they're I was reading some libertarian stuff about from Murray Rothbard. And it's like, no, they're like the gang that won, right? At the end of the day, they won it all. And now they have their fall guy, like any other mafia or gang would have, right? Like Anthony Rota, the Speaker of the House, like he's the fall guy for this whole thing because this looks awful. This has been a soap opera the whole time. The next video is going to add some context to this, but go ahead. What were you going to say?
I don't mind this because as far as I'm concerned, it's just one less swamp rat. Although he's just going to get replaced with another swamp rat, but...
He sounds like such a. I mean, I know nothing about him. He sounds like such a nice, sweet old guy.
I gotta say that is the difference between America and Canada. This guy 2 days later, worst weekend of his life, resigned. In America, they would have laughed at you and said, "I ain't resigning. Suck my dick."
Yeah, like Bob Menendez over there in Jersey, right? The guy who just got caught with the fucking corruption. He's not resigning. He's running for re-election. All right, so to add some context, now this is Trudeau today. This is still going on. This is literally I'm
surprised.
We might have done this episode too soon. There might be some more goodies coming tomorrow, but this is.
I'm surprised it's still going on because. If I was to think about it, I would think they would stop talking. If they stopped talking about it on Friday, probably nobody would remember it by now. We would.
Yeah.
We would. But like your average NPC would be back to flying their blue and yellow flag and sticking, vaccines up their ass.
I mean, I don't know. They've shown throughout this whole thing that they're not very impressive over there. So like you're
No.
thinking from the evil genius point of view, it's like just fucking ignore it and it'll go away. Like you have the corporate press in the eating out of the palm of your hand anyway. They'll carry water for you. I don't know, dude. I think they got a black eye here. They really took one on the chin, and they're like stumbling backwards here, trying to undo what they just did and how bad this looks, and they cannot. They cannot stop making mistakes every day here. This is I'm loving this shit. This is amazing. Especially just I can't stand this fucking guy Trudeau, man. So I'm enjoying every second of this. Let's see what he had to say this afternoon.
In a few moments, I will address the House in front of all Canadians, in front of Jewish people here and around the world, and Ukrainians, to offer Parliament's unreserved apologies for what happened on Friday. The Speaker was solely responsible for the invitation and recognition of this man and has wholly accepted that responsibility and stepped down. This was a mistake that has deeply embarrassed Parliament.
I'm going to pause real quick. Yo, they straight up threw this motherfucker under the bus, dude. You heard what he said? This
is the whole plan.
This is what this is the context I was
guy.
just saying before. The fall guy. They literally said, yo, it was his fault only. He's the only one who had anything to do with this. He's taking full responsibility. He stepped down. Yeah, we're such nice guys here. We're so good. We're still going to apologize anyway because that's the right thing to do. But this guy, they're really throwing this guy fucking head first like a bouncer underneath the bus. Rhoda.
Yeah. I would love to know what his severance package was. It's funny that he's apologizing to Ukrainians as well. They have nothing to do with this. It was one Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Like that's their history. This is what they did in history. Sorry to tell you.
Sorry about your history. Yeah, let's wrap this up.
And Canada. All of us who were in this House on Friday regret deeply having stood and clapped, even though we did so unaware of the context. It was a horrendous violation of the memory of the millions of people who died in the Holocaust, and it was deeply, deeply painful for Jewish people. It also hurt Polish people, Roma people, 2S LGBTQI+ people, disabled people, racialized people, and the many millions who were targeted by the Nazi genocide.
That's it. You tapping out over there, buddy? You waving the white flag? This guy. I mean, look, man. This is one of the things about Trudeau. He's like the model World Economic Forum leader. Like he literally is. Like I don't know. Like the World Economic Forum. They literally like created this guy in a fucking lab, and then when they what's his name from the recent Guardians of the Galaxy movie? The guy, the
Rocket?
No, the gold guy,
the bad guy.
Adam
Warlock.
Adam Warlock. Yeah, he's created in a test tube, but then they took him out too soon, and he didn't get to fully mature yet, so he makes a lot of mistakes. Like that's Trudeau. Trudeau's basically Adam Warlock, essentially.
Yeah,
he is, man. My God. Well, That's like next level woke shit that hasn't even reached America yet. Like I haven't heard them say 2SL. Whatever the fuck he said. Like 2SL.
Yeah. They have a more advanced LGBT community than we do. Yeah,
they do. Yeah. It's preposterous, dude. It really is. Oh my God, man. So what a story there. That's where it's at. They found their fall guy. Anthony Rhoda takes the fall. Everybody gets their apology. Yeah. No, we're not done yet. We got some more shit. Any other thoughts on the whole thing? The irony behind it all, obviously. Yeah. Oh, man. So, just, I don't know, folks, perhaps when a war breaks out and people try and warn you about the context around it, you listen to us next time, right? And try and do some of your own research because these people, they are fucking obviously misinforming you. They talk all about misinformation and disinformation. They're the largest purveyors of disinformation and misinformation that exist. And that probably... Yeah, I know. But they're going to be able to curate for you what's true and what's not, right? That could be why they're like so, stumbling over themselves trying to like make this right to some extent. Like they know this one really looks bad. They're not impressive people at the end of the day. So, all right, let's move on to our next topic, which is going to be a short one. And then we got a bunch of tweets of the week, and then we'll wrap up the show. Couldn't do an episode without Donald J. Trump making an appearance. So
I didn't even see this thing that you were talking about.
So I got a tweet here from Kyle Kalinske of Secular Talk. He's become a real, I don't know, really don't like him anymore. I used to like him. And he's saying Trump incoherently babbles about whales and windmills. Let's see what he's talking about.
But you have a better chance of being struck by lightning than hitting a whale with your boat. There has only been, listen to this, one such whale killed off the coast of South Carolina in the last 50 years. But on the other hand, their windmills are causing whales to die in numbers never seen before. Nobody does anything about that. They're washing up on shore. I saw it this weekend. 3 of them came up. You wouldn't see it once a year. Now they're coming up on a weekly basis. The windmills are driving them crazy. They're driving the whales, I think, a little batty. But you have a better chance.
All right, so
he is babbling. I'll give him that. But this is such an easy clip to take out of context.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I know what he's talking about with the windmills and the whales being beached because of it. Whereas the left or whatever is fighting for climate change.
Yeah, like this is delivered in Trump's funny manner.
Yeah, idiot.
And this is like a classic example of what they always do to Trump, the corporate press, and now even people who used to have pretty objective takes but are like shit libs online, where they're like, "Oh, look at this idiot! He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's incoherently babbling about whales and windmills." I just want to point out that Kyle Kalinske posted a fucking photo when he was in a plane of farms, and he goes, "What are those squares on the ground? Like, why is the land laid out like that?" That's how fucking like dissociated and like out of touch some of these like coast liberals like Kyle Kalinske are. Like, they could fly over them. You know how they call them flyover states? Well, while he was flying over flyover states and he sees squares, he doesn't understand that those are fucking farms. But here he is, and it's not just him. Many people were making this exact point that Trump is an idiot and he's just talking out of about whatever, about random shit. Well, dude, you don't know shit. Like, you don't know shit about fuck. What is Trump talking about, right? Like, I made a clip at least 2 months ago about Michael Schellenberger's documentary covering this, right? Which I'm going to play right now, in case you're not aware, because I was aware of this, and my guess would be that someone knows that this is going on, and they just made this point to Trump, like, hey, like, there's this thing happening on the East Coast where all these windmills are causing like a disruption of the whales ecosystem, which is then causing that, like, the sound of the windmills underground, like the underwater, like the vibration. Whales are very sensitive to sound. The vibration is driving them insane and causing them to die. Like Trump says, only one died in the past 50 years, but now we got like fucking 50 in 2 years. What the fuck's going on? I'll play this for everyone real quick. This is not Trump making crazy shit up.
1,000%. That is the boat.
Let's bring it to dead stop. I saw another whale had washed up. It's becoming a pattern. Is it the windmills? Is it the pounding of the seafloor? How many whales is it going to take?
There aren't many places where the North Atlantic right whale can go. It's destined to extinction.
It sounds like they're like it's like pile driving.
This is what the whale is experiencing, and nothing over power.
What the United States is looking at is thousands of wind turbines in an area that our whales, our dolphins, our marine life, where they live, where they migrate, where they breed. It's only when they started going into the wind lease areas that we believe that the whales are dying.
So those red dots are whale deaths.
Precisely.
What a scandal.
All right, so it's called Thrown to the Wind. It's called, real quick, it's called Thrown to the Wind. Michael Schellenberger, we've mentioned him a lot on the show recently. It's his documentary he's working on. If you want to check it out, go ahead.
We have this quote unquote climate crisis. We need the windmills. We install the windmills. The whales die, and I guarantee you they blame the whales dying
on climate change. Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy.
We are the government, and we are here to help.
Yeah. Yeah, and me and you probably don't agree with the climate change agenda, but I'd gather something. Yeah, that's it. But look, I'd say that something me and you do agree with is conservation, and we like hunting and animals, and we think that that's all important, and like keeping the environment clean is important because animals rely on that, and this is something that concerns us, right? But I don't know, like it's being omitted by the climate change leftists that are so, why? Because they don't actually give a shit about that. It's a fucking political point. It's all, and look, and I want to get back to the crux of what I was trying to say here. Is like this is one of those examples where they take something out of context about Trump to try and make him look like an idiot, but he actually was making a pretty solid, intelligent point, just trying to deliver it in a funny way. Like throughout all of COVID, they did this to him, and it's all it takes is scratch a little bit beyond the surface, and it's fake news. I guess so, right? That's the play. Yeah. All right. We got 10 minutes left. Oh yeah. Well, speaking of that, you saw they've now tried to tidy that up, and they're getting them. They put him on the short bus. Essentially, they're making him get off Air Force One on the short steps that are down towards the bottom of Air Force One, so there's less chance he takes another tumble. Which as we get closer to the election. Either that, man, or maybe we were talking about this with James. Maybe the way they get rid of him is someone just throws him down the fucking steps, and like Gavin Newsom's down there and he catches him like as the hero, and it's like I tried to save him, and now you should vote for me to be president or some shit like that. So who knows, man? But we got 10 minutes left. Let's wrap it up with tweets of the week. We got a lot of tweets of the week because we haven't gotten to them in a minute. So let's get into them. I have no idea what the captain's got, but I am interested to see.
Some of these are from last week because I thought we were going to do it.
It might be a little,
or maybe even when we had Ken on. Yeah,
exactly. So it might be a little bit dated, but let's get into them. So my first one is from Maxine Waters out in California. She goes,
"Oh boy,
many are worried that the judge has extended Trump's trial date. Not to worry. Trump can't run. Trump can't hide. He will be imprisoned with Ivanka by his side." What the fuck does Ivanka have to do with this?
She's got the Trump name. It don't matter.
I guess so, right? I mean, this is a sitting government person, literally now just like, okay, we're also just going to throw in Ivanka Trump in jail. Meanwhile, they'll at the same time be like, well, Hunter Biden never did anything wrong, and everybody insinuating that he's a criminal and he should go to jail. That's insane, and they should be, silenced for that. And it's disinformation from fucking 900, CIA organizations and all this shit. Give me a fucking break, people.
This is just what 1,101,000 time. We got him. We got him again.
You have a clicker?
I think there's just as many Q is coming tomorrows compared to we got him.
Yeah, blue and on as they call it.
This angered me to no end. This is the most hypocritical statement I have ever heard and seen in my life on Twitter. Adam Schiff. Term limits for Supreme Court justice are critical to restoring the public's faith in our justice system and protecting Americans' fundamental rights and freedoms. I'm proud to partner with Rep. Hank Johnson and the Term Act to bring balance to the nation's highest court. Here is a fucking slimeball that will not vote for term limits in Congress, but because currently the Supreme Court justice is Republican majority, we need term limits for it. This is the most hypocritical thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, they don't care. They're only interested in power, right? So, he's just outright essentially saying we need to change the Supreme Court because right now the Supreme Court don't agree with us, and we need to put in people who do agree with us so then we could get what we want. When, again, like the state will lie to you and say, well, the objective of the Supreme Court is to be blind justice and to, interpret the Constitution. Again, folks, like it's not, right? These things are all constructs. They're not real. They only work if people believe in them. And the danger right now is that a lot of people don't believe in it, right? They were looking to change the rules, however, and bend them to get what they want. And that's exactly what Adam Schiff is advocating for here. Criminal should be send him to Gitmo.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is from Mehdi Hassan. I am keeping tabs on this guy. Mehdi Hassan works for MSNBC. He is a corporate news journalist. And he says, the day after Musk suggested a Jewish billionaire is behind the great replacement and the destruction of Western civilization. What's Mehdi Hassan talking about? He's quote tweeting some tweet from some guy called Barak Ravid, where he goes, tomorrow, 12:15 ET, Elon Musk and Bibi Netanyahu will interview each other for an hour, and it's going to be live on X. What is Mehdi Hassan really saying? He's trying to insinuate that anyone who criticizes George Soros is like anti-Semitic, right? Or something like that. This is a point I keep harping on with Mehdi Hassan specifically. He went after Vivek Ramaswamy. Remember we were talking about Vivek Ramaswamy, how he took a Soros scholarship, right? And everyone on the right is like, hey, he took a Soros scholarship. That makes him suspicious. Well, Mehdi Hassan also interviewed Vivek and made that point. And he was like, hey, you took a Soros scholarship. That makes you suspicious. But I'm like, hang on. You're on the left. You're one of the leftist corporate journalists. You always say that anyone who talks bad about George Soros is anti-Semitic. So it's interesting to see how they just flip on the drop of a dime, right? Where he'll use that point against Vivek to make it like a negative against Vivek. He'll use the bad around George Soros as a negative against Vivek. He could use it against them. But then if someone else uses a negative about George Soros, he then goes back to saying how it's, like anti-Semitic and the great replacement and all this and that. I am keeping tabs on this guy just because he's flip-flopped on this publicly in tweets so many times the past couple. I think that's just, I think everyone should take a lesson from that. Right? Like, these people don't give a fuck about whatever they say. Everything is a means to an end. The end is just power. And if today they hate Nazis, tomorrow they'll love them, right? And they'll lie right to your fucking face and think that you're an idiot and that you're not smart enough to remember what they said yesterday. But I do, and I'm keeping tabs on this asshole because he's one of the worst. All right, where are we at?
What's his ad? I can't. It's a little
Alex
small on
Cole.
my screen. Yeah, Alex Cole. This cost me $56 at Miami Airport. Thanks, Joe Biden. It's a paper plate with ramen, a slice of American cheese, 4 baby carrots, and some hot Cheetos.
Or burn your asshole out, those flaming hot Cheetos. Yeah, this was
I
like
just
meme.
thought this was fucking
This was
funny.
like a meme that was going on lately of how much food costs at the airport. They're not half off, man. The food at the airport is so expensive. It's a fucking ripoff.
It's funny because when I had found this, I was scrolling through Twitter as I was filling up my gas tank. And I think I paid like $407, $408 to fill up my car. Thanks, Joe Biden.
Yeah. Gotta get those stickers. All right. Where are we at? Bow-tied Ranger. I don't even remember what some of these tweets are anymore. It's been so long. So from the Bow-tied Ranger, I'll say it. The African invasion of Italy is a bigger threat to European sovereignty than Russia, and it's not even close. I think that's a great fucking point.
Did they kill him? Did they kill him for saying this?
Bow-tied Ranger? I know he's anonymous, so they probably don't know who he is. But I think that's a great point, right? There are so many migrants coming into Italy and Europe in general. It's going to displace what the culture is. Like, if just a huge swath of a different culture comes in to your country, they're just different from you, right? And especially Italy has such a strong culture. I'm Italian, right? I go to Italy to absorb that culture, but then over the course of time, you're just going to take in millions of people with different culture. Like, you're going to lose your culture and your country and your sovereignty, everything you like
One world
about
people.
it. And I like African culture too. I've been to Africa. I think it's cool as fuck, right? Those are like the good things about the differences about people. Like the cultures, you're gonna lose so I just think it's a great fucking point. Like, it is actually more of a threat to European sovereignty than Russia, who's not directly invading Italy and sending millions of Russians to supplant the Italian culture or anything like that every fucking day. All right,
it's what these people are in support of, man.
Yep.
They're with this open borders idea, you are marching to the demise of your own culture. Is what woke policies get you. All right. This is Being Libertarian. They sent a picture of Biden's tweet. Because prayers and because thoughts and prayers are not enough, at VP and I just created the first White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, and I guarantee you that office is corrupt as shit. But at the bottom of it is a picture of Rick from Rick and Morty holding an AR-15 saying, "Don't care, keeping it."
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, that's the attitude to have with that. This is a great page, being libertarian. Give it a
Yeah, it's pretty good.
They make good memes and shit. Follow Namrock also on. He's a friend of ours now. He makes really good memes and shit like that. Been talking to him a little bit behind the scenes. All right. Okay, so the original tweet from this is from a suspended account now, but the tweet that I was trying to get here is from the Persistence. This is Scott Pressler. I've referenced him a lot of times on the show, and so Scott is responding to a Trump supporter who's criticizing him for like saying nice things here and there about Ron DeSantis. And so Scott says, "This is such baloney. I've made it clear that I'm here to defeat Joe Biden. If people are serious about winning the White House, they'd be focusing on the elections in Kentucky, Louisiana, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Virginia. Respectfully, show me someone that has done more to register voters." And now you can't really see the original tweet, but I think the Republican primary between the DeSantis followers and the Trump followers has gotten so fucking stupid. If you're gonna like, this is like advice to Trump supporters, like Scott Pressler has done a lot of work. He has registered a lot of people to vote. He's on the ground. Like, if you're going to start going after Scott Pressler because you guys are so embroiled in, like, insulting each other for the dumbest shit, like, he's, like, your most valuable person on the ground, and you're going to, risk turning him off to what he's doing?
Be on education,
You know what I mean? Like, this is advice to Trump supporters. Like, don't do that. Like, this guy is valuable. If you turn him off to the whole political system and he stops doing what he's doing, like, that's going to hurt Trump. Right. Luckily, he's saying that doesn't really matter. He's working hard, but my God, just a little bit more tactful nuance.
People are stupid. People are stupid, bro. People, just because they're voting for Trump, don't mean they're not stupid.
Fair enough. All right, where are we at? I'm getting lost here. So many. Oh, you got one from Tower Gang Toad. All right.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is fantastic.
This is brutal, but I love it. So the other week, Chuck Schumer suspended the dress code so John Fetterman can wear his Crocs and G-strings. Look like a fucking clown that he is. Looks like the plumber that he is. Him and all his clones, because there's multiple John Fettermans. And from Toad, Tower Gang Toad. This is the acceptable dress code for a U.S. senator. And who was that? The POW.
McCain, right? John McCain. That's John McCain's funeral. Yeah.
Yes, it's the American flag draped over the coffin of the deceased John McCain.
Yeah.
That is the only acceptable dress code for U.S. senators.
Yeah. This became a meme over the last week also, and I have to hand it to the Libertarians. They had the best memes on this. I some of them I thought about using for tweets of the week, but I could not put them on YouTube just because of this one. This is one of the better ones. This is also the famous tweet from the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, where they said "Happy Holidays" the day he died, in this picture. So it's, when it comes to the, I'll make a point real quick on the dress code thing. I think it's great that they've gotten rid of the dress code. Why? Because I think that Congress and the government are a bunch of illegitimate criminals, and anything they could do to wake more people up to the fact that they're a fucking pathetic joke and that we should treat them as such, I welcome. So if they want to dress in Crocs and hoodies and things like that, and wake some more people up to how ridiculous and pathetic and illegitimate they are, go ahead. When the enemy's making mistakes, like, don't get in the way. Let them.
No.
Yeah, Sun Tzu, the art of
So I love John Fetterman. He's
amazing.
the greatest asset we have.
Yeah. I would vote for him if I was in Pennsylvania. I really would. All right.
This is a good old Trump history.
Hang on. I still got some more.
Oh, you got to go. Yeah, that's right.
I forget. Hold on. Let's see. There's so many. Okay. So hold on. First, I got to pause this because this is not going to be able to stay on YouTube. But this is from Cloud, a verified Twitter account. And this is the 30th Mechanized Brigade continue to destroy orcs near Bakhmut, Donetsk region. The orc came to Ukraine with weapons in order to kill and destroy our cities. After dropping the drone, he asked to mercy him, but he would rather stay at home. So who's he talking about? This is a video of a Russian soldier. And I've referenced this a lot on the podcast, like the videos of the drones dropping grenades on Russians. And this is what this video is of. It's of a drone dropping grenades on a Russian soldier. it's really interesting to see the otherization of the enemy, calling them orcs, right? Like a Lord of the Rings reference. I also thought that was pretty ironic, right? Because remember the article saying that people who like the Lord of the Rings are Nazis? Well, maybe they are, right? I guess maybe they are, right? Because the Ukrainian Nazis seem to like to use Lord of the Rings references when they're talking about Russians, right? If you actually watch this video, I can't play just because how gruesome it is. This guy literally gets blown to pieces by a grenade. He's surrendering the Russian to the he's waving up. He's like waving the white flag, like I surrender, and the grenade gets dropped on him anyway. That's a war crime. Right, like if you surrender, and then
this
you
is
murder,
all
then you,
war crimes
I'm just
at
saying,
this point.
I'm just saying, that's war. I understand that's war. War crimes happen all the time. People don't give a fuck. They blow people. They blow each other up. But there are some Ukrainian accounts celebrating war crimes openly, and they don't give a fuck about it, right? And I'm sure there's Russian ones too.
War criminals.
And I'm sure there's Russian ones doing the same shit too, right? This is the evil of war. But I don't know, like not necessarily a good look when you're celebrating war crimes on Twitter. You know.
Yeah, but you know what? You could share this all around YouTube, and people would cheer you on.
Things I can't even share it on YouTube. If I play the videos, it's gonna fucking get our episode banned for murder or whatever it is that it's in it. So, all right, where are we at? One more for Captain, right?
The Trump history, I believe. I found this one just before we started recording. Yes, Trump history. Breaking: Taylor Swift spotted ditching Travis Kelce for Donald Trump. Reports on the ground are saying that Taylor Swift said she prefers alpha males with large hands over woke beta male Pfizer poster boys. Fantastic.
Yeah, I love the Trump history page, man. This whole thing we were talking about this in private text.
Dude,
it's a whole episode of itself. It's so astroturfed. The Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing, like it doesn't seem organic.
She's part of the cabal. The NFL is rigged and staged.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Ugh. So my next tweet actually is topical and related, and it's President Biden, and he says concert tickets are hard enough to get. You shouldn't have to pay surprise service fees on top of that. My administration is working to crack down on those junk fees so you know what you're paying for up front. The government's now going to get involved in the concert ticket industry. So what is this related to? I mean, it is directly related to Taylor Swift, right? Like her concert has been so big this past year, and people have been complaining about how expensive it is that you can't go. And I don't understand why it's been that popular. Like I know she's a popular person, but it's been just like out of control. So the point where like this is a fucking priority of the president, right? And like the government now is going to get involved in the fees for tickets.
Homelessness, suicide, fentanyl deaths, the border, the financial collapse, the housing market ready to implode.
But ticket fees.
Yeah. We're going to get you better prices on concert tickets. It's all fluff.
It is.
It's all fluff.
It's also like virtue signaling to younger crowds, right? Like who are obviously upset that fees for like Taylor Swift and things like that are so high that they can't go to concerts. So here comes President Biden. He's on your side, young person. You should vote for him in the upcoming election.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I'm going to forgive your student debt. I'm going to make marijuana legal. I'm going to fix the concert fees for all the concerts that you want to go to. Shit like that. It's all so fucking stupid. It also then again it just ties into the weirdness around Taylor Swift and this stuff. It doesn't feel organic, whatever's going. I don't know exactly Don't know exactly what's going on, but it doesn't feel organic. We got one more tweet. And it's from Nina Turner. She has to make an appearance on any tweets.
Oh, fucking Nina.
And Nina Turner goes, a 4-day, 32-hour work week is possible. Listen, bitch, I wouldn't even fucking want to work only 32 hours. If I only had to work 32 hours a week, I'd have so many emails at work to come back to on Monday morning. I'd be drowning. And even if I did only have to work 32 hours, I'd do the podcast. That's like another 15, 20 hours of work every fucking week that I choose to do. These goddamn communists are so lazy. They don't want to work. They think, again,
I agree with her. Fuck that.
Fuck that, man. You got to work hard in life. The deer don't jump in the fire. I fucking killed one this past weekend, right? That was another like 10 hours of work right there. Like, am I crying about it?
Yeah,
no.
but if you had more time, you'd get more time to hunt.
Something tells me though that these communists are not going to do it. They're going to do their 32 hours and then they're going to go paint or some shit. Like they're not going to do anything fucking productive for the rest of the time.
Time's more valuable than money.
One more quick point about Nina Turner. She tweeted before that she's got big announcements coming next week, and she posted a video. So I was like, I wonder what she's doing. I went and
She's
looked.
transitioning.
I went and looked on her YouTube show called Unbossed. She hasn't posted a video in a month. Why must that be? Her fucking show failed, right? And her show was called Unbossed. Who did she work for? She worked for the Young Turks. Cenk Unger, or whatever the fuck his name is, right? That was her boss. I found it so fucking ironic. Like, her show probably got canceled by the boss, Cenk, right? And she's now failed, so now she's going to move on to the next thing, the next grift I have to do to, to make money off of being a fucking socialist. So, here we are, 3 years later. We survive, and Nina Turner does not as a podcast. Yeah. All right, wrap us up, Captain. Good episode.